Well, hey everybody, it's Sunday, the third day of May 2026. My 47th wedding anniversary is on Tuesday, 47th. Did I say 47th? Yeah, it should be 47th. Long time. I think I'm going to roast a pork roast in the oven. Anyway, let's go ahead and the last time we had Fehu and Vaya, and we had that 2 weeks earlier as well. And so we'll see what we get this time to start out with. I'm going to wait for a rune to fall in my hand here. Now watch, it'll be Fehu again. Nope. No, it's Manaz, the 20th rune of the Elder Futhark. Manaz is an interesting rune. Given that it's the 20th rune, you'd have a 2 numerology if you're just looking at the order of where Manaz is in the Elder Futhark. But you have a sense of both sides here. You have integration. It's the idea of the individual within the collective, or within society, or the family, whatever collective you're looking at. Where are you in all of that, and how are you integrating? It's a bind rune in and of itself. You've got, I'm just going to do this, I'll just show you. Well, that's not going to work. Maybe this one will. So here you have Manaz, and I never draw this very well, and I don't know why, but here you have Manaz. Okay. The key word would be man. But it's the rune of, it's like the thought rune or the rune of memory. But here you have on either side, you have Isa, the Norn rune for the present moment or for alignment and spirit. Within that, you're going to have Gebo. That would be the simplest way to look at this. So Isa twice and Gebo once. Now, Gebo is the gift of reciprocity or balanced energy exchange with others. So there's where you get the integration between yourself and the rest of your group or the society or the world or what have you. You can also look at this, the center, instead of just Dagaz, or rather just Gebo, you can see Dagaz, which again is the end of one phase or the beginning of another. It's kind of that movement from one thing to another. All options are open. So that would indicate with Manaz then that you're looking at something where this coming week, where maybe you're trying to figure out your way in maybe a collaborative endeavor, where you need to be mindful of how you interact with people. Are you doing it in a balanced way? Are you doing it in a respectful way? But we also have Vunyo forward and reversed, right down here. Vunyo is about fellowship and joy. So again, it all leads to integration and alignment in higher purpose with that, essentially. And then you have, and I'll just explode it out here, you have Kenaz in all directions. And Kenaz, that's this here, this one here. Kenaz in all directions, you're expressing the light of spirit out into everything that you do. And so I think that when you look at Manaz with all of those components, it really defines itself, without even knowing what it would be. But it's this way to integrate with fellowship and joy and higher purpose with people. And that's something that may be coming this next week. Let's see what the Geomancy rune has to say. Let's see what it is first. So, what do we have here? Okay, that's fire, 2 dots there. 1 dot for earth. 1 dot for air. And 2 dots for, Acquisitio, for water. Acquisitio is about gain. But it's also can be about excessive behavior, and it can be, though, about Let's see, this would be a missio. Missio is its complement. That'd be loss. The thing about emissio though and acquisitio, there it is. You can look at increase for acquisitio and a decrease for emissio. So if you drew this and say maybe you're not feeling very well, and you drew acquisitio, it could mean that you're going to gain your health back. So you see there's an increase. With emissio, it'd be a decrease or loss of health, or a loss of illness. And so either one could mean that you're going to be getting better, in other words. So it just depends on how you want to define both acquisitio and emissio as to how you're going to use them in some kind of divination. But with acquisitio, you're talking about being goal directed. It could have to do with money. It could have to do with income. Maybe there's going to be something that could be coming that's lucrative, having to do with that collaborative experience, or maybe with the idea of manas, you gain by understanding the interconnectedness between you and others. Maybe that's been a difficult thing for you in the past. Maybe you're somebody that just likes to be more independent and work alone, or what have you. And the thing about when you pair the two together with manas and acquisitio, maybe you have an increase in achieving, you maybe get your goals done, achieve faster, with understanding how you can work together with others in common purpose or shared purpose. So we'll just start with that and see what the cards have to say. We'll make any adjustments that we need to make. So there's the lower half. So we have the Magician, the King of Wands, and the Eight of Swords. Now, I said, where's my calculator here so we can get the overall numerology? 20 for manas and 1 for the Magician. It's from the Major Arcana. Nothing for the King of Wands. The court does, as I've said before. But if you're new here, then welcome on the one hand, and on the other, court cards don't have a number associated with them, so we don't count that. And also the Geomancy runes don't have a number associated with them that I'm aware of. So, and then we have 8. So that's 29. 29 reduces to 11. We're not going to reduce that any further. It is the higher vibratory number, as opposed to 2 on the other side of 2. You got 2 on one end on the continuum and 11 on the other. 2 would be the lower vibratory one, more physical reality based, whereas 11 as a master number, you're looking at awakening and enlightenment. Let me just do this one more time. So 20 plus 1 plus 8. 29. So again, we have an 11 overall numerology. So you're going to be awakening to something here, to some higher truth this week, maybe having to do with how you engage with other people in a way that brings you some kind of increase in either material security or success, achieving your goals. I was out this morning. I went out early when the pollen was only 8.8. It's been between 9 and 10.2. And so I thought I got out there soon enough. I planted my carrot beds, and so that part's done. But then I was starting to feel bad, so I came in. I've been like this ever since. Anyway, so we'll see how well I do here. But anyway, if you're trying to maybe awaken to a different type of perception about how you want to go through different things, or how you want to maybe change how you approach your goals and achieving them, and again, maybe you've been offered an opportunity where you're going to work with some other people and kind of bouncing ideas off one another, and in doing so, you find that it ends up being a better outcome. maybe more a quicker outcome than trying to do this all on your own. And it's not to say that part might be realistic, but it might be. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, the Magician, card 1 of the major arcana, as the Fool is the 0. As the Fool takes its leap into form, into physical reality, it becomes the Magician, and it manifests its physicalness, its physical reality, its body, its energetic makeup. You see the elemental tools here on the table right there. You've got earth here with the pentacle, you've got water with the chalice, you've got here the sword, that's air, and then here you have the wand, which is fire. So you're integrating all of those elements into the physicalness of your reality. You see the lemnis gate up here, the as above, so below nature of his arms, holding a scroll, if you will. I think that's a scroll. It might be, some people call it a wand, but I don't know. I think it's a scroll. But you're bringing down the word of the Creator into physical reality as the Fool is manifesting that as an aspect of the Creator. And so consequently, you also see here, you see the same sort of idea of back and forth and connection in eternity with the belt that he's wearing, that is the snake that's grabbing onto its tail. But again, what you bring down from higher awareness, you manifest into physical reality. And that's part of this process. With the next card, the High Priestess, then that would be the subconscious realm. And so you're putting it all together then with the Empress, which is card 3, and giving birth to creation. And so that's kind of the manifesting triumvirate or triplicity of experience between the Magician, the High Priestess, and the Empress that the Fool is going to go through when it starts something new. And so in a sense, if you are going from a standpoint of maybe working independently, and now you're going to be part of a group, and you need to understand your place in that group and what you have to contribute and how you interact in a way that's positive and goal-oriented, but also process-oriented. How or will you all work together effectively? And again, the Magician is an important card in that it is a card of the major arcana. It's a soul archetype card. So clearly this is something where you're going to be understanding things from a different perspective, a more joyful and fellowship-oriented perspective versus one where, you're going to be at loggerheads with one another. It doesn't mean that you won't disagree. That's fine. But everybody does it in a respectful way, right? Now, in the court card can either represent you or the qualities of it that you want to embody, or it could represent another individual. Now, maybe there is something going on here with maybe somebody in authority that has asked you to do this, to come together with this group of people, everybody come together and work together on something. He would be a good person who's knowledgeable, who would be like a wise counselor. He's kind of a warrior. But he can also be a mentor. He can be, if he's ill-dignified, then maybe he's not very tactful, too much fire. And so maybe he'll just open his mouth before he thinks. But at the same time, you're looking at the idea of either embodying this inner strength, this warrior inner strength, especially if you're not so convinced that this is something you want to do. And so you're going to have to embody that strength, that awareness, to just say, you know what, I'm going to set aside my preconceived notions and I'm going to just take it one step at a time, and I'm going to keep my vision lofty, and I'm going to interact on that level. So it could be the qualities of the king, but at the same time, you don't want to have anything where you're going to try to be the authority in the group either. It'd be one thing if the group decides, yeah, you're really kind of the leader of the group, so you may be, but you still have to be careful and understand with Manas how to integrate with other people. in a way that's respectful and focused on fellowship, basically. Supporting everybody. So this could be someone that's could be helpful to help you learn how to do that. It could be the boss, or it could just be somebody who you might go to and say, I'm doing this and I'm kind of out of my element. What do I need to pay attention to? What do I need to look out for? How would you suggest that I approach this? It could be somebody like that. But at the same time, it could be that strength of character you're going to need to be able to work collaboratively with other people, especially if you're not really used to doing it, or maybe you are. It's just this is a new group that's coming together for a common purpose, for something that they need to accomplish, and maybe the boss has just decided, you would be great there. And you're going, yeah, I don't know. But at the same time, the boss sees something in you that maybe you don't. And so you can kind of look at the king as an outlier, because it can mean a variety of things here, but you're still going to manifest something in a way with a magician that is new. Maybe, again, a new opportunity for you to be able to learn to work in a way that maybe you haven't done so much in the past. And that's always a good skill to have. If you end up doing well, then that's something that would be profitable to the business, maybe, we'll say. Especially if everybody gets together and gets something done in a much quicker amount of time, and if it's a project or you're working on, you want to sell to customers or whatever, maybe it's just something that it makes the boss more money more quickly, we'll say. And here, lastly, with the Eight of Swords, here we have a woman who's in a red dress. She's blindfolded and bound. You see 8 swords piercing the wet, soppy sand around her. You see a castle in the distance, and again, you see the water here. And it's the wet, soppy sand when you've got a bunch of water and it's not going anywhere. And so with swords, you're looking at, whereas with the wands is the fire element. Here again, you're looking at the element air. And so with air, you're talking about how we talk to one another, communication, intellect, truth versus deception, ideas, fairness, balance, legal issues. So it could be any number of those things. But when I see the Eight of Swords, however, 8 to me is about material recognition and approval. It's about leadership. It's about strength and the inner strength that we need. And I've already been talking about the inner strength you may need to be able to accomplish what Manaz has you setting out to do here. But to do it, you got to turn off the noise around you, either from other people or from within. If there's a lot of negative self-talk within you, that you just got to blindfold yourself and not see it, and bind yourself into some alignment with higher purpose, so that you're not influenced by your own negative self-talk, by your own negative attitudes about, oh, gee, I don't think I can do this. But in order for you to achieve that material recognition, again, from the boss maybe, you've got to let go of the ideas and the perceptions that no longer serve you, at least not in this case. And it's almost like you've just got to go within to just shut it all down. And so if you find that this is true for you, that you're going to be doing some things that maybe are outside your comfort level, but you're going to do it anyway. Again, how you manifest it has got to come from some higher awareness, some higher purpose, where the ego doesn't get involved in it, where the ego is not trying to tell you what to do, and to keep you from pursuing something that could ultimately be very, very good for you in the long run. Some people just cannot work with others. And some people are too afraid not to work with others because there's safety in numbers there, but otherwise, you might just be somebody that really just, my mother was that way, just get out of my way, I'll do it myself, and she used to say also, well, if I want it done right, I'll do it myself. And I would listen to this, I'm like, no, I don't think so. Maybe you shouldn't think that way. But she was a Taurus, and she just was a little bit bullheaded, and she was stubborn, especially when she thought she could do it better than anyone else could. And look, the sad part was it was self-reinforcing, because she kind of was. And so and unfortunately, when somebody's like that, then it reinforces it for the next time. And then maybe people don't want to work with you, because it's like, well, what's the point? She's just going to do it all herself, right? So there's pros and cons with that, but that reminds me of her, and some of the things she used to say to me. Just make them get out of your way and do it yourself. You'll do it right. It's like, yeah, but the interaction is yeah, that's positive too, right? Not so much. So anyway, that would be an example of getting out of the way of your own perceptions, and turning everything off around you, all the noise that's within and without around you, and trying to come up with a way that you can accomplish what you need to accomplish to get that material recognition and approval, that might lead to a promotion, or get you enough skill sets about yourself that you can go and maybe look for another job. You might be offered another job. Say a client, sees you, they're working, and they're doing business with where you're working, with your job, and with your company, and maybe they look at you and they sort of poach you and say, would you like to come work for us, because you've done a really good job on what we asked of you, and all of that. So I just think that overall here, I think that you gain a lot by understanding how you can work with other people and what role you play there, and how you're able to manifest without the ego driving that. And create the things that you need to create, again, without that ego driving it, because the ego is going to get in the way of the whole man-as energy. Man-as is not egoic at all. It's that balanced energy exchange with other people, that joyful fellowship that you share with one another, as you work together to create something new and important, and maybe lucrative. And so, again, take that inner authority to make that happen, or use the King of Wands as maybe there's just somebody that you can go to for advice as to how do I navigate this? I've never done this before. How do I do that? And still maintain my own sense of individuality within the group, but at the same time bring everything together with one another, to support one another. How do I do that? So don't be afraid to talk to somebody that might be able to help you with that. And then let go of all of the perceptions you have about, oh, I can't do this, or I can't do that, or I can't work with those people, or whatever, because I'll bet you can. And who knows, it might be something that you were just afraid to do before, and you may end up liking that experience, and that's going to come through to your supervisor or the company owner or whatever, to your boss, and could end up being quite lucrative for you in the long run. When they see what you can do for the company, that's when promotions happen. That's when more responsibility, more and higher pay happens. So again, it could be something that results in an individual thing for you, but at the same time, learning how to work with others is a positive thing. You never know. You never know when you're going to need that skill, and it is a skill. I like to work with other people, but sometimes I just like to work by myself. And so, and that's fine, but you've got to be able to do both. And I like that camaraderie, that feeling of camaraderie when I'm working with other people and we're getting something done and everybody's putting in ideas, and suddenly something else really great emerges from it. And I like that feeling. So for me, I would look forward to it. But for some people, maybe not, so challenge yourself, step outside that comfort zone and try something different this week, and see if it doesn't make a difference in your life. And so I think that's it. I don't think we need another card here. So I think we're good here. And again, with the 11 numerology, the Master 11, that's awakening and enlightenment. And so you awaken to a different truth about yourself, maybe. So anyhow, that's it. Thanks for watching. And everything's up on the blog over at Stepping Aside. The web address there is imsteppingaside.com. If you forget, click on more below the video, that word, and it'll open up a box and it'll be right there at the top. If you forget what the web address is, sometimes I think you can just search for Stepping Aside and it'll come up, but not always, but usually it does. But I never know if it's just happening because I'm doing it to make sure it's coming up. If I were on somebody else's computer, would it do the same? I don't know. Probably, but anyway. But if not, you can always find it below the video. So, and check that out, and come back again next Sunday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.